Return of the Mount Hua Sect, Chapter 197. Go ahead if this feels unfair. Chongmyung felt dazed. Everything felt vague. What am I doing now? The scent of blood kept rushing to his nose. He knew that he was still alive only because of his body, which kept hurting. All of this was unfamiliar to him. That was Hyung! 3 throwing blades that took down the demonic sect people by the droves were now trying to attack Chongmyung from behind. Crack. There was an eerie sound as they fell down on the spot. Thud. Chongmyung looked at the blades at his feet with dazed eyes. The heads of the fallen demonic sect people that were trying to attack him turned to him, and soon the light disappeared from their eyes. They were dead. Right. Death. What are you doing? What is this in the middle of the fight, Daoshyung? Get yourself together! Chongmyung turned his head and looked back. Tangbo. He tilted his head as he approached Chongmyung. No. Chongmyung raised his hand as he touched his forehead. His concentration was strangely lost. I don't know. Maybe the exhaustion is getting to me. Chongmyung shook his plum blossom sword, wiping the blood off it, and shoved it into his sheath. Tangbo grinned as he reached out to retrieve the throwing blades. It is bound to be exhausting. We have been at this for 3 days. Hyung, you look really tired. You aren't even talking. Do you want some medicine? No, Hyung, don't act like this. When other people are told that they will be given the spiritual pill of the Tang family, they close their eyes and just gulp it down. Don't you believe in the Tang family? I do believe in the Tang family. Then? I don't believe in you. You're saying that again? Because of what I gave to you last time? It was a mistake. Your mouth seriously has a life of its own. Shut it. Chongmyung turned back. I'm heading back. Wait, Hyung, let's go together. Tangbo quickly caught up with Chongmyung. Since we killed all their men, another group will come soon, right? Right. If that wasn't the case, there would be no reason for them to go through this much trouble. And suddenly, Chongmyung turned his head to the cold sensation he felt on his arm. Tangbo was applying the golden scab medicine. It was the medicine for the cuts. How many times do I have to tell you that if you don't treat the wounds on time, they hurt more? Chongmyung frowned. Leave it alone and it will heal with time. Yeah, sure, but it heals faster with these medicine. Stay still. Tangbo tore off the hem of Chongmyung's robe and then smeared the golden scab medicine paste. The Tang family's golden scab medicine is something which cannot be bought with money. Be grateful. With the same mouth with which you said you hate the Tang family, you now speak about how great their products are. That is that, and this is this. Besides, Tangbo's face had a slightly bitter look. I didn't know before, but now I think I understand why my family is stubborn. After all, in the end, without strength, we amount to nothing. If the Tang family had power on its side, they wouldn't have had to run from Sichuan, and so many members wouldn't have lost their lives. Seeing Tangbo speak with a heavy voice, Chongmyung frowned. I've been having these thoughts recently, Daoshyung. Like what? It isn't that I care much about what the family members say, but if I had trusted and supported them a little more, maybe the family would have had a little strength on their side. Then maybe I could have saved one more. Don't say nonsense. If you had gone there, you would have been annihilated as you blindly believed in your strength while going against them. True. Tangbo bowed his head with a bitter expression, and after a while, he looked up again. The bitterness on his face vanished as if it had been washed away, and his usual mischievous smile bloomed. So when the war is over, I'm going to try to help the family head a little this time. I was known to be the best head they could have had, but not once have I taken good care of them. Look at you sulking about it. That is something only Hyung What? No. What is with the weather? So gloomy. Why is the weather like this? Chongmyung smiled. In fact, Chongmyung was no better than Tangbo when it came to not doing his role right. The only thing he gave the sect was some fame because of his title as the Plum Blossom Sword Saint. He couldn't even properly look after his disciples nor help the descendants. He lived as he wanted and went where he wanted. Once this war ends, It will be different. And that time. But Hyung, how about you make a promise with me? If I die during this war, Hyung will take care of the children of the Tang family. What nonsense is that? Even if I do my best, Hyung is more likely to survive than me. So, just listen to this young one's wishes for once and look after the kids. It is because I gave you the special pills and drinks. You can pay back with... If you are going to talk this shit, then go away. Go away. I'll stab you right here. It isn't such a difficult task. If you want to look after and raise your family, do it yourself. Survive. Whatever it takes. Ugh, you idiot. Chongmyung pushed Tangbo to the side and walked ahead. Then it's a promise? Seriously. I said I'm going to give you the heavenly poison pill. Oh, no, seriously. This brat. Yes? Get over here. Let me give you a beating. It seems like I suffered a huge wound earlier. Why is my body... Seeing Tangbo retreat, Chongmyung smiled. Why think about what happens after you die? Everything is over once you die anyway. It still isn't like that. Even if I die, the rest will live. Taoist Hyung, you're a Taoist without any attachments in the world, so you won't understand such feelings. Tangbo scratched his head. It's just like that. People think that way. And despite being unpleasant, the thought never leaves our heads. Chongmyung sighed and turned around. Ugh. Don't hand over your work to others. Do it yourself. Instead, I will end the war. I will cut off the head of the heavenly demon. If it's Hyung, then it can be done. So until then, Chongmyung said, survive and live on tenaciously. Yes. Tangbo slowly approached Chongmyung from the side. Seeing him walk step by step along with him, Chongmyung let him do it. And Tangbo died less than a month after that. Chongmyung opened his eyes. He got up. A sharp pain could be felt from his abdomen. He looked down to see a white cloth wrapped around his stomach. Doesn't seem like I died. Well, it is unlikely that I died from that. In the past, when we were at war, I survived even after being hit with a dagger. This body is more tenacious than a cockroach. That is an insult to myself. But where am I? Chongmyung turned his head and became shocked. The disciples of Mount Hua were all spread out in front of him. Baekchun, Yu Yisol, Yunjong, and Jogul were all lying dead on the floor. Not dead. They were sleeping like the dead. That scared me. Chongmyung glanced at them and smiled. They grew up without anything, so they sleep well on the floor too. Such pitiful beings. Chongmyung was about to wake Yunjong up. Leave them alone. They didn't sleep for the last 3 days. Chongmyung shook his head. A man came in as the door opened. You are awake. The man who came in and spoke very slowly and softly was Tang Genak, the head of the Sichuan Tang family who had a spar with Chongmyung. There was no expression on his face. Chongmyung tilted and looked around. This is... Right. Why did I come to the Tang... No, wait. It has been 3 days? Right. You have been unconscious for 3 days. Chongmyung was shocked. 3 days? No, he was sleeping for 3 days because of a stab to the stomach. I'm weak. I'll accept that. Chongmyung grunted. In the past, if it was the same wound, he would have pulled out the dagger and applied medicine to it, and his body would barely give out. Chongmyung's eyes blazed at the thought of being weak. Then why are my Sasuks and Sayos like this? They said they won't leave your side until you have opened your eyes. I did ask them to get rest, but they drew their swords and resisted. I was scared something might happen, so I put them to sleep. They were next to me for 3 days? 3? They could have taken turns to keep watch, but the 4 of them together. Idiots! Stupid bastards! Chongmyung rolled his eyes and looked at Tang Genak. Then you should have moved them to a better place. When we tried to move them, they would groan and get up. So what do you want us to do? The Sayongs seem attached to you. If the children of my family were like this, my worries would have eased to some extent. I am so jealous. Jealous my... Chongmyung glanced at the Sahyungs. Stupid ones. Really stupid ones. But... Chongmyung let out a low cough. A weird feeling ran through his heart. At that moment, Tanggenak bowed his head to Chongmyung. I apologize. Eh? It is all my fault. I didn't expect Tangpe to actually commit such an act. No matter what I say, there can be no pardon for what I allowed to happen. I will do my best to relieve your anger. Tanggenak lifted his head and spoke with a serious face. First, I admit my defeat. As promised, the Sichuan Tang family will recognize Chongmyung of Mount Hua as their eternal guest and friend. Oh? And if you want, I can give you Tangpe's head. Chongmyung was surprised. I raised my son wrong. If that helps your anger, I can do that. If it can restore the honor of the fallen family, I will do it. Tanggenak spoke with disgust. But his heart was different from what he was showing outside. If I speak to this extent, he would have no choice but to say no. Tanggenak lifted his head and looked at Chongmyung. Unfortunately, Chongmyung's expression was a lot different from what Tanggenak had expected. No, it was entirely different. Chongmyung tilted his head. Is that all? I asked if that was all. Then... Oh my! Chongmyung looked at Tanggenak like he couldn't believe what was happening, as if he was seeing something he shouldn't. You put a knife in someone's stomach and now what? A friend? A friend? If the kid did something wrong, then the parents should be held accountable. How can you pass the blame onto the kid? Oh my god, this is the Tang family. Tang. Oh my, this is the prestigious family? The prestigious one? I think the term prestigious should be removed. Chongmyung jumped up. No, this cannot happen. I need to run to Chengdu and spread word about how well the Tang family handles things. I will just tell those beggars. In 3 days, it will spread all around the world. Calm down. Tanggenak began to sweat. If the lord of the Tang family was defeated in the fight with Mount Hua's divine dragon, and if it spread that the child of the Tang family did a sneak attack during a spar, the name of the Tang family was doomed. Even if they didn't like it, people would call the Tang family a part of the evil sect because they used poison. No. If I do that, my neck is next. You throw knives at sneak attacks during spars, so cutting down a neck shouldn't be a big deal. I would have killed you if that was the case. No. My words came out wrong. Tanggenak began to sweat and looked at Chongmyung. What do you want? Are you asking because you don't know? A reward. There has to be a reward. Saying sorry for stabbing someone doesn't cut it. If things can be resolved with such words, why do we need officials to handle the problems? Why would wars happen? Yes, of course. I will compensate for it. But the reward, what should... That is something which should be thought of carefully. How can I make a good deal with each other? And... Chongmyung looked at him. First, I'm saying this as my body feels empty. Give me the heavenly poison pill. Heavenly poisoned? Yes. Now. I see. Tanggenak's face contorted at it. This was a mistake. Looking at that face, Chongmyung brightly. Tangbo, don't worry. I will take good care of your family. Is this taking care, you ask? Go ahead and come back to life if this feels unfair.